Longest Week by the Podex. The week after Christmas is the longest week of my life. I write and I write and I read poems to Twin, who is still in his feelings and refusing to talk to me about Cody, but I see him texting Caridad, who's the most sympathetic of us all, so probably a good decision. I read the poems so often and edit so much that I begin memorizing them by accident until my head is full of words and stories, till I'm practicing the poems in my dreams. The more I write, the braver I've become. I write about mommy, about feeling like an ant, about boys trying to always holler at me, about Amon, about twins. Sometimes I'm still awake writing when mommy gets up at the ass crack of dawn to go to work. So many words fill my notebook, and I can't wait to share them all. But still another week to go until Poetry Club. Wednesday, January 2nd, the waiting game. Because of New Year's, we don't start school again until Wednesday, so I miss Poetry Club by just one day. Although I'm disappointed, the extra week gives me more time to write. Isabel and I share some poems during lunch, and if I catch Stefan or Chris in the hallways, we'll joke or talk about a new piece. With my birthday in a week, I realize that this new year hasn't started off so bad. Tuesday, January 8th, birthdays. On our birthday, Twin and I exchanged gifts in the morning right before we leave for school. I got him an X-Men comic, issue 17. Although it's not his usual anime, Twin tears up when he sees it. Iceman, the main character in it, is a super dope gay mutant. I hug him awkwardly, and before he pulls away, I don't know if I told you, but I'm on your side, always. Twin gives me a tight hug and hands me a wrapped package. I break open the tape and see the leather cover. It's another notebook, so similar to my first. Ran out of gift ideas, I tease. He shakes his head and nods out of my old notebook, fat and falling apart on the kitchen table. No, and your old one is so full I know you haven't either. Pack up and walk arm in arm to the train. Today will be a good day. The good. Caridad has left me 5 voicemails singing happy birthday. They're ridiculous and her voice is horrible, but I laugh every time. I'm sure she's trying to get up to 16 by the end of the day. When I go put away my bio textbook before lunch, an envelope flutters to the ground. Inside, I find a printed out receipt for 2 admission tickets to an apple farm just north of the Bronx. Only one person at this school knows how much I love apples, Amon. A laugh uncurls in my throat and stretches its way to my lips. By the time Poetry Club comes around, I'm walking on air before Stefan pulls me into the classroom. Chris takes off his fitted and croons Happy Birthday, the Stevie Wonder version. Isabel hands me a cupcake. Miss Galliano gives me a wink. I think I'll remember this birthday for the rest of my life. The bad. When we start going around the room to read our poems, I reach into my bag. I find the new journal Twin gave me, but after searching and searching, I realize I must have left my old one on the kitchen table. For a moment, I feel so anxious. All those poems I wrote over break, and I don't even have one to share. But I try from memory. One of my favorites rolls off my tongue as if I planned it that way. It feels so good to do a new poem, and so good to listen to Chris, Stefan, and Isabel. When I finally look at the clock, I realize I'm running late to church. At some point, Mommy will find out I haven't been going to confirmation classes. Probably when the class is confirmed, and I don't have an excuse for Poetry Club anymore. But for now, I'm going to keep fronting. I just need to get to church before she's waiting outside. I grab my bag in a hurry, leave with a quick wave, not my usual goodbye, and zip my North Face up tight. Grab my phone to shoot Caridad a text, and I see I have 2 missed calls. My mother's voicemail spears ice into my bones. Te estoy esperando en casa. Click. The ugly. I'm breathing hard by the time I get home. I ran from the train and my face is flushed. I glance at the kitchen table before hurrying to my room. My notebook isn't there. Mommy is sitting on the edge of my bed with my journal cradled between her hands. When she looks at me, I feel blood rush from my cheeks. I hear a baseball game in the living room, but I know neither Poppy nor Twin can save me. My hands pulse to grab the book from her, but I don't move from the doorway. She speaks softly. Think I don't know enough English to figure out you talk about boys and church and me? You know all these terrible things you think? My mother has always seemed like a big woman, even though she's so much smaller than I am. This moment when she swells up and stands, I shrink in the eyes of her wrath. These thoughts you have, that you would write them for the people to read, without feeling guilt, shame. What kind of daughter of mine are you? She seems lost, as if I've yanked an anchor from the only thing that's kept her afloat. She grabs the book in one hand, and it's then that I notice the box of matches, the box that's always on the stove, the one that's sitting on my bed. I don't know what an asthma attack feels like, but it has to be like this, like claws reaching into your chest and snatching sharply every bit of air, leaving you breathless and wounded before you know what's happened. She's lit a match. Let me explain, I tell her. that no one sees the words, that they're just my personal thoughts, that it helps for me to write them down, that they're private, that she wasn't supposed to ever read my poems, that I'm sorry, that I'm sorry, that I'm sorry. And I'm digging my fingers in the door frame. It's the only thing holding me up, holding me back. My anger wants to become a creature with teeth and nails, but I keep it colored because this is my mother, and I am sorry. She found it that I wrote it, that I ever thought my thoughts were mine. She holds the lit match, up to a corner of my notebook. Excuse me. Get a trash can, Siamara. I don't want any ashes. If your hand causes you to sin. If your hand causes you to sin, if your eye causes you to sin, if this notebook, this writing causes you to sin, the smell of burning leather propels me. I push from the doorway and reach for her hand. Hundreds of poems, I think, years and years of writing. She turns before I can get my hand on the notebook, shoves her elbow hard into my chest, recites the words loud again and again. If your hand causes you to sin, if your eye causes you to sin, if this notebook, this writing causes you to sin. For the first time in my life, I understand the word desperate, how it's a pointed hunger in the belly. Please, please, please. She holds me off with a lit match, but I make another grab and the smoking book falls to the floor. We both reach for it, and just as my fingers graze the cover, feel the etched woman on the leather, my mother slaps me back hard onto my ass. The Christmas bracelet rattles to the floor, but as I breathe near the door, my cheeks stinging, all I can do is watch the pages burn. And as she recites scripture, my words tumble out of my mouth too. And all the poems and stanzas I've memorized spill out, getting louder and louder, all out of order, till I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, heaving the words like weapons from my chest. They're the only thing I can fight back with. Verses. Where the X is marked, I arrived battle ready. Dios te salve Maria, llena eres de gracia. I am the indication. I sign myself across the line. El Señor es contigo, bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres. The X I am is an armored dress I clothe myself in every morning. Y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús. My name is hard to say, and my hands are hard too. I raised them here to build the church of myself. This X was always an omen. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amen. Burn. Mommy stares at me like I'm speaking in tongues and continues praying. We're wild women, flinging verses at each other like grenades in a battlefield, a cacophony of violent poems. And we're both gasping, wordless. Tears roll down our cheeks, but mine aren't from the smoke. I cough on my own tongue. I never mourned something dying before this moment. I have no more poems. My mind blanks. A roar tears from my mouth. Burn it, burn it. This is where the poems are, I say, thumping a fist against my chest. Will you burn me? Will you burn me too? You would burn me, wouldn't you, if you could? Where there is smoke. I'm not sure when Poppy and Twin tuned in, but I feel Twin rush past me. He reaches for the notebook, but Mommy hisses at him to step back and stomps on the smoking pages. Poppy is in the room. He speaks softly to my mother, saying her name over and over. Altagracia, Altagracia. When he reaches for the book, she hisses at him too, but he is soft with her. Approaching a frothing pit bull, he bends and grabs the book by a corner and tugs. She lets go. He knocks against the wall, trying to put out the burning leather. Yells at Twin to get the fire extinguisher. Can a scent tattoo itself onto your memory? That's a mixed metaphor, isn't it? My notebook's smoldering. My heart feels like it's been burned crisp. All I can think about are mixed metaphors. Things you think about in the split second your notebook is burning. If I were on fire, who would I count on to water me down? If I were a pile of ashes, who could I count on to gather me in a pretty urn? If I were nothing but dust, would anyone chase the wind, trying to piece me back together? Other things you think about in the split second your notebook is burning. I will never write a single poem ever again. I'll never let anyone see my full heart and destroy it. My mother tries to grab me. Poppy snatches the extinguisher from Twin and puts out the small fire. My mother has been standing behind the blaze as a puff of dry chemicals rises between us. My knees know where she will lead me the moment the air clears. I scramble backward into the hallway, push up to my feet and away from her hands. I stand up to my full height, and I'm glad I'm still wearing my coat and backpack because I need to leave. I rush to the door, turn to sweet Twin, pulling my mother back. She has her arm raised, machete ready to cut me down. I take the stairs, two at a time. When I am finally outside, I breathe in. I have nowhere to go, and nothing left. Returning. Twin begins texting me immediately, but I don't answer. When I finally reply to a text, it's one I received 2 months ago. X. Hey, man, I need to talk. Can you chill? On the walk to the train, I call Caridad and she answers singing happy birthday, but cuts herself off early. What's wrong, Zio? Are you crying? All I said was hey, but she knows by my voice my world is on fire. I take a breath. She tells me to come over. She tells me she'll meet me. She asks me what I need. Check on Twin, make sure he's okay. I just need to breathe. I just need to leave. There's a long pause, and I can imagine her nodding through the phone. I'm here for you. You'll figure it out. And that's enough. The ride. The train stops and starts like an old woman with a bad cough, but I feel more than jumbled when I walk on, so a halting train doesn't faze me at all. When I get off on 168th, it started snowing softly. I turn my face up into the wetness. I pretend this is like a movie where the sky offers healing, but it only makes me colder. I stand there waiting, knowing you said he would come, believing you will. A tingle on my neck is the only clue I have, and then I smell him, his cologne a cloud of so many memories I didn't even know he'd made. Mon's fingers reach for my hand, but he's silent. I keep my face open to the sky. I squeeze his hand in mine. No turning back. Amon asks me questions, but I barely hear any of them. The only thing I feel is the warmth of his fingers. We walk nowhere for a while, until I notice Amon is shivering. I finally look at him, really look at him. His hair is wet, his eyelashes have droplets from the snow. He's wearing nothing but a thin hoodie. I can see his bare ankles below his sweats. He must have rushed out without putting on socks. I tug on his hand and whisper against his cold cheek. You're cold. Let's get out of the cold. You live near here, right? And although he raises both his perfect eyebrows, there's nothing left to say. Taken care. The long way up 5 flights of stairs, I have all the silence and time to think. I know that Amon's father works nights, that at night Amon listens to music and does homework, and I almost laugh all the time we were together and happy I avoided coming here. Now that I'm nothing but a hot mess, I push my way into his home. His couch is soft, brown, and cushiony, no plastic covering like mine. I don't take my coat off or my backpack, I just lean my head back and close my eyes. I can hear Amon moving around me. Table leg scrapes against the hardwood floor, the refrigerator door opens and closes softly, then music playing, but not J. Cole like I expected. Not hip hop at all, instead it's bass strings and soft steel drums. Soca, I think, but slow and soothing. When Amon tugs on my boots, I finally open my eyes, and he is bending over my feet, staring at my mismatched socks. Then he's sitting beside me, and I finally begin to feel warm. He doesn't ask what happened, but the question floats like a blimp across the arch of his brows. And so, I tell him all of my poems, my words, my thoughts, the only place I have ever been my whole self, or a pile of ashes. And smoke must still be lodged in my chest because it hurts so much when I'm done speaking. Amon doesn't say a word. He just pulls me to him. In Amon's arms. In Amon's arms I feel warm. In Amon's arms I feel safe. In Amon's arms he apologizes. In Amon's arms I apologize. In Amon's arms I want to forget. In Amon's arms my mouth finds his. In Amon's arms my hands touch skin. In Amon's arms my shirt comes off. In Amon's arms I am shy for a moment. In Amon's arms I am beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. In Amon's arms I feel beautiful. In Amon's arms my jeans unsnap. In Amon's arms I show myself. In Amon's arms naked skin rubs against mine. In Amon's arms kisses and kisses my neck and ears. In Amon's arms fingers touch my breasts. In Amon's arms I stop breathing. In Amon's arms I feel good, so good. And I also know we have to stop. Because now we're lying on the couch and he's on top of me and his kisses feel so good, everything feels so good, but I also feel him pressed against me, the part of him that's hard. It's still an unanswered question I don't have a response for. When his hand brushes my thigh and then moves up, I know why island people cliff dive, why they jump to feel free to fly, and how they must panic for a moment when the ocean rushes toward them. I stop his hand, I pull my face from his kiss. He's breathing hard, he is still kissing me hard, he is still bumping up against me hard. We have to stop. Tangled. Sometimes I wear these really long 3-strand necklaces, and I love how they look, like a spiderweb of fake gold, but they're the worst to put away. The next time I try to wear them, they're a tangled knot. No beginning, no end, just snag after snag. That's how I feel the moment I ask Amon to back up. Like a big tangle. I feel guilty because he looks so frustrated. I feel hot and wanting. I feel like crying because everything is so mixed up, and I feel the panic slowly die because I can think. I just need a moment, things to slow down, so I can undo the knots inside me. The next move. I wait for him to call me all the names I know girls get called in this moment. I sit up and hold my bra against my chest with no memory of how I became undone. When his fingers brush against my spine, my whole body stiffens, waiting, but he only pulls my straps up and snaps my bra closed, hands me my t-shirt. We are silent as I get dressed. I wait for him to hand me my boots, to point me toward the door. I know this is how it works. You put out or you get out. So I'm surprised when instead of my boots, Amon hands me his own t-shirt. And when I look at him confused, he takes it back and uses the sleeve to wipe the tears sprinting down my cheek. There are words that need to be said, but we don't say any of them. We watch YouTube highlights of the Winter Games, help Amon fry eggs and sweet plantains. I sip a Malta. Amon drinks a bottle of his father's Carib beer. Somewhere in New York City it is late, but in Amon's living room time has stopped. I'm dozing off with the lights dark and the buzz of the computer, with Amon's soft breathing in my ear. I think of all the firsts I've given to this day, all the ones I choose to keep, and this is a better thought than the one that wants to break through, because in the back of my head I know today I've made decisions I will never be able to undo. Wednesday, January 9th, facing it. When I walk into first period English, Miss Galliano takes one look at me and stands up from her desk, gestures me outside. Amon offered me one of his t-shirts, but my boobs pulled it too tight across my chest, and so I'm wearing the same outfit as yesterday, and by the way she looks at me, I know that Miss Galliano knows it. She doesn't mention clothes. She says she called my house, that when I ran out of poetry club, she got concerned, got the number from the school directory. She spoke to my father, who sounded frantic, and my whole family was wondering where I was. She asked me if I'd called them. She asked me what's going on. My chest is heaving because I don't know what to tell her. She puts a soft hand on my arm, and I look into the face of a woman not much older than me, a woman with a Spanish last name who loves books and poetry, who I noticed for the first time is pretty, who has a soft voice, and called my house because she was worried, and the words are out before I know it. Confirmation, lying about poetry, the rise, the book burning, leaving the house, sleeping at Amon's. My face burns hot, and the words are too fast. And I wonder again and again why I'm saying them, and if people are looking, but I can't seem to stop all the words that I've held clenched tight. And then I say words I've never even known I've thought. I hate her, I hate her, I hate her. And I'm saying them against Miss Galliano's small flame, who swims arms around me as she hugs me tight, and she tells me over and over, just breathe. Just breathe. It's going to be okay. Just breathe. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And so I take a breath I didn't realize I needed to take. When has anyone ever said those words to me? Maybe only Amon, who's never forced me to smoke or kiss or anything. But everyone else just wants me to do. Mommy wants me to be her proper young lady. Poppy wants me to be ignorable and silent. Twin and Caridad want me to be so good I don't attract attention. God just wants me to behave so I can earn being alive. What about me? What about Xiomara? When has anyone ever told me I had the right to stop it all without my knuckles or my anger, with just some simple words? But you do have to talk to your mom. Really talk to her. You do need to figure out how to make a relationship with her work. Would I say to Miss Galliano after she passes me a Kleenex, okay, going home is one of the hardest things I've ever done. All day I've been unfocused, unsure of what I need to do, of how to do it, hands trembling at the thought of what will happen when I walk through the front door. Because my mother's ears are soundproof when it comes to me. The only one she ever listens to is God. During lunch, Isabel doesn't ask what happened. She just hands me her bag of Doritos. After bio, Amon rubs shaking my hands as we walk out the door. His gentle hold warms me up. During last period, Miss Galliano comes to my math classroom and gives me a note with her personal cell number in case I need to talk to her later. When I step out of school, Amon's hand in mine, both Caridad and Twin are standing at the front gate, and although none of them can face Mommy for me, I know I'm not alone. And I finally know who might help. Amon, Twin, and Caridad. Introduce Amon to Twin and Caridad before we all walk to the train station. I want to ask Twin what happened after I left last night, but I don't want to know. I can tell by how tired he looks that whatever it wasn't good. Excuse me. No one says anything for a long time. Caridad squeezes my hand and tells me to call her. Amon kisses my forehead and tells me we're going to be all right. When Twin catches me looking at him, he gives me a soft smile. And then his eyes begin to water. On that rocking train, we hug and rock too. Divine intervention. I make a stop before going home because I know assistance comes in mysterious ways, and I'm going to need all the help I can get. Homecoming. At the apartment door, I slide the key in, but don't unlock. I can hear both people behind me breathing. Mommy might not be home yet. I still have time to gather my thoughts, to get my life together. When I open the door, she's there, standing in the kitchen, wringing a dish rag. Her eyes are red, and she looks small, so small. Twin gives my shoulder a squeeze and moves behind me. Take a deep breath and square my shoulders. Mommy, we need to talk, and I think we need help to do it. I step aside and let Father Sean cram into the kitchen. He reaches out a hand to my mother, Altagracia, and this woman I feared, this woman who has been both mother and monster, the biggest sun in my sky, bright, blinding, burning me to the wick. She hunches her shoulders and begins to sob, silent crying that shakes her whole body, and I am stuck and still before I go to her.